texture your milk jug. Oh my god, why am I saying that? Welcome back to another tutorial on how to make coffee, or like a Joe professional. This one's all about milk and how to texture in a way that is repeatable, consistent, and easy to achieve. So what we do is we rip, dip, and then whip for the rest of the time, and essentially dip to the whipping zone. The rip is when you pull the steam wand all the way out of the milk and blow the bubbles. And then the dip is trying to find the whipping zone. The whipping zone is just after you dip back into the milk, and you'll see that the bubbles will just collapse into the middle. And we do that by having the jug on an angle. Now, to perform the rip, dip, and whip, the way that we hold the jug, our technique is really, really important. We want to start with our first 3 fingers, doesn't matter which hand you hold this with. First 3 fingers on the inside of the handle, thumb on top, pinky on the outside. This is so that we can hold the jug as straight as possible and line it up with the steam wand, allowing our free hands to control the angle that we turn the jug. Whichever hand you hold it with, we want to tilt in towards our sternum so that it's easy to see the vortex or the whipping as easily as possible. Turn on the steam wand just so it starts heating the milk. Then that hand, once you've turned it on, we want to bring back to the jug so that we have 2 hands on the jug so that we can rip together. Now we're ready to rip the milk, bringing it all the way out of the steam wand arm so that those bubbles blow. Depending on how frothy you like the milk is how long you'll hold that rip for. Now we want this to start whipping really nicely, so you have to dip the milk all the way back to just before you rip again. That's where the whipping zone is. You'll see those bubbles collapse into the vortex. The shinier, the better the texture, which is the mouthfeel. That's the most important part of this entire process. This brings me to the desired temperature of the milk. We want to get to about 60 degrees. Any hotter, like when we start getting up to about 70, we start to burn out the natural sugar or sweetness that's in milk. If you like extra hot milk, that's totally your prerogative. Generally, making it too hot will reduce our maximum flavor potential. So how do you know when your milk is done? We find the best way to do this is testing the temperature of the jug on the bottom because it heats up last. So it gives us the most accurate reading of the entire body of milk. So just giving ourselves a natural reset by tapping. When it's too hot for about a second, that's when we want to turn it off. Once we've got our desired temperature and we've turned off the steam wand, remove the jug and put it down. We want to get our chucks or our microfiber and wipe any old milk off the steam wand straight away. Make sure that your chucks or microfiber is wet or damp so that it can actually remove that milk. Then we want to purge the steam wand again to remove any milk residue that's like gone up the steam wand, and then just push it away. Picking up our jug, if there's any bubbles, that's alright. We just want to tap them out, and then we're ready to swirl our milk into a really, really nice texture. If it's matte, that's alright. You just keep swirling vigorously until it becomes shiny. But now you're ready to take this really silky, well-textured milk and start pouring. Just remember, this rip and dip technique, it's all a bit of trial and error. If you rip too much one time, just next time, rip a little bit less. Every steam wand's different as well, so you'll kind of figure out how much you do or don't need to do every time, depending on your machine or the size of your jug as well. Just make sure that you rip at the start, dip straight away, and spend as long as you can whipping the milk to get that creamy textured milk. Next up, I'm going to teach you how to pour some basic latte art.